Don't be tempted to tackle large-scale decluttering before you're ready. Check out these 30 easy decluttering ideas instead. They can be finished in 30 minutes or less. All the hundreds of things we surround ourselves with, they can be helpful. We all need some things for our lives to run more smoothly, efficiently, and comfortably. But there is a tipping point, which is different for everyone, when the amount of things actually becomes a burden instead of a benefit. And when that tipping point happens, we find that these items are actually making it difficult to find the things we need. They're taking up too much space or causing extra stress. And that is the point when you will want to do some decluttering. The decluttering process is actually quite simple. It involves handling each item and then sorting, usually into 3 piles. 1 for the things you really enjoy or use all the time, 2 things that are kind of useful but you don't grab for often, and pile number 3 for the items that you dislike, never use, or maybe you even forgot you had. Piles 1 and 3 are easy decisions. Keep pile 1 and get rid of pile 3 by either throwing, donating, or selling. It's really that middle pile, pile number 2, that creates all of the question marks. Now you might be thinking, Angela, I already know all of this already. I'm ready and excited to start decluttering. Well, not so fast. In all of the excitement, you may be tempted to tackle those spots that are the most annoying and give you the most stress, like that overstuffed closet or unorganized garage. But you need to build up those decluttering muscles first. And the best way to build up those muscles is to start with some smaller, easier projects. So today I've got a list of 30 easy decluttering ideas. Some can be accomplished in just a few minutes, while others will take a bit longer. But none of these ideas should take longer than half an hour to complete. Easy project number 1 is the silverware drawer. Drawers are a great starter decluttering project because you can pull everything out without making too much of a mess. And for a silverware drawer, it is super easy to assess which items actually belong and which are just taking up space. Number 2, shower ledges. Are there mostly empty containers lining the side of your shower or bathtub? Could they easily be consolidated into one bottle or moved to smaller travel-sized containers? After you've decluttered, it might be important to set some boundaries on how much is kept in this spot. Maybe it's a 4-bottle rule, or you can find a waterproof caddy to keep them contained in, like I do. Easy decluttering idea number 3 is backpacks, purses, wallets, or even coat pockets. Basically, any place that you may put items to take with you when you're out and about. It's incredible all of the random stuff that can accumulate. Everything from handwritten shopping lists, snack wrappers, and even expired coupons or gift cards. Number 4, the face of the fridge or the space above it. We access our fridges multiple times a day, so much so that it becomes almost like a dumping spot, a bulletin board, if you will, of all of the important things that we don't want to forget. Things like appointment reminder notes, the family calendar, or that A+ report card that your child came home with. But sometimes we have to say that enough is enough and clear it all down to start fresh. That bombardment of information every time you open the fridge door might be doing more damage to your psyche than you realize. And while you're at it, take note of anything you may have squirreled away in that awkward spot above the fridge. It's a sneaky area that can accumulate and many people forget about it. Of course, the inside of the fridge or freezer could use some love too. This is another area that can be completely emptied and cleaned out quickly without much thought. Then toss out expired food and sauces and reorganize for efficiency. You'll thank yourself next time you get groceries. Number 6, the first aid kit. Taking on this project will not only ensure that it's not stuffed with unnecessary items, but also that it is well stocked and ready for any emergency situation that may arise. Number 7, media console. the place where you keep your music CDs, DVDs, charging cords, gaming systems, and games. It can easily be overrun by items that you haven't called upon in a very long time. Dig all the way into the back. Are there floppy disks hiding or cords for electronics that you no longer own? That's a clear sign that it's time to do a bit of decluttering. Number 8 is for all you ladies out there, the makeup bag. Ditch the guilt you may have from buying expensive products that you ended up not liking. We've all done it at one time or another. If you aren't using it and it's not expired, you might ask your local theater department, maybe at your high school, if they could use some of your excess. You'd be helping someone else out and freeing up space in your makeup bag at the same time. Easy decluttering project number 9 is your vehicle's glove compartment. With the exception of proof of insurance and vehicle registration cards, the contents of a glove compartment can vary greatly from vehicle to vehicle. You may fill yours with items that you might need when you're out and about, such as sunscreen, wet wipes, or even a few snacks, or you might have a full extra set of clothes in there. Whatever your preference, just make sure that excess items aren't in there taking up valuable space. Number 10, it is fairly easy to declutter a bookshelf. Taking on an entire bookcase may be a bit ambitious, but can you commit to just one shelf? Arrange the books in a beautiful way, perhaps by color or size, and add in a few decorative pieces that will make you smile. I recommend displaying children's books with the cover facing forward. Though not the most space-saving option, it allows kids to find their favorites without digging through and making a giant mess. Number 11, clothing drawer. Again, you don't need to commit to an entire chest full of drawers. Just choose one to go through and get well organized. Experiment with different folding techniques until you find a system that makes it easy for you to take clothing items out and to put them away. Project number 12 is one that you may not have considered, and that is the windowsills in your home. This one should be ultra simple. Remove items, give the sill a quick wipe down, and then only put back the items that you want there to display. None of those random bits and bobs. For safety reasons, always be sure that whatever you do choose to leave on your windowsill doesn't interfere with the function of the window. Easy decluttering idea number 13 is to tackle the toolbox. Search for those duplicate hammers, screwdrivers, or any tool that you haven't reached for in a very long time. Overfilling a toolbox with too much excess will only make it difficult to carry around and to find the tool you actually need when you need it. Number 14, under the bed. If you store things under your bed side by side with all of the dust bunnies, I urge you to reconsider. Unless your home is severely lacking in storage, that space under your bed is of the very lowest quality. And storing things down there probably means that that item is not all that valuable or important to you at all. And if it is precious, you really need to identify a safer, cleaner spot for it to be stored. That might lead to a little extra decluttering, but the effort will be very worth it. Number 15, nightstands. Year-old cough drops, half-read books, broken alarm clocks, and cute notes from your kids. Chances are these items have found their way into your nightstand. If they belong there, great. But for everything else, you have to ask yourself the question, do I really want to sleep next to a mini garbage can? Easy decluttering idea number 16 is the cleaning caddy. You may have multiple spots throughout your home with cleaning supplies. I personally have found it very useful to consolidate everything into one caddy that I carry with me throughout my home as I clean it. And I'm constantly going through it to ensure that I have the proper tools I need to get the cleaning done in an efficient way. Number 17, spices. Now, I used to be a huge doubter when it came to organizing spices. I always thought, what's the point of that? But about 2.5 years ago, I did a major declutter and organization of my kitchen, and I looked for the most logical spots to place things. The spices ended up in a drawer next to my stove, which is where I use them, and this has made all of the difference. I went the extra step to decant the spices into uniformly sized containers, but you wouldn't have to do that. Just identify the spices that you use most often and keep them accessible. Get rid of the ones that you haven't used in a long time. Number 18, declutter those seasonal outerwear bins. If you live in a region that has extreme temperature swings, it's likely that you have a bin or two full of those seasonal items such as gloves and scarves, swimsuits, and beach towels. Storing these items for long periods of time can break down the materials and fibers. Do a check to make sure everything you want to keep is in working order and that you have the correct sizes for the upcoming season. Number 19, pantry or food storage areas, including the spaces you may use for bulk food storage. I encourage you to think carefully about the amount of food you reasonably want to manage and allocate space for. In an emergency, it might be a good idea to have a little extra, but you might not need a 2-year supply. Easy decluttering idea number 20 is one that not everyone will have, and that is a gift wrapping station. This is a really fun idea. It keeps all of those things handy for when you need to wrap a gift, probably extra useful during the Christmas season. But what tends to happen is that they can become overstuffed with more than they can comfortably hold. Tons of extra gift bags, ribbons and tags, or rolls of wrapping paper with just a tiny bit of paper left on them. Check to make sure that you have what you need without a lot of excess. And it's probably a good idea to commit to using up what you have before restocking. Number 21, jewelry boxes. If you're like me, you don't wear a lot of jewelry from day to day. But for a good long while, I had a huge jewelry box filled to the brim with pieces I had collected through the years. Why was I keeping it all? Honestly, I'm not really sure. Maybe it's because I just never thought to declutter it. Be honest with yourself. Which pieces are treasures to you and which are just taking up space? Number 22, pencil cases are another ultra easy decluttering idea on this list. Most of us have a small space in our homes where we keep a lot of random office supplies such as pencils, paper clips, and rubber bands. Do an audit of this spot just to ensure that you're not holding on to too much. Easy decluttering idea number 23 is the space under sinks. That awkward area under sinks, whether in the kitchen or bathrooms, they look like dumping grounds in most homes, mine included, until we took some time to really think about how we wanted the space to function. Now it's organized and puts a smile on my face every time I open the cabinet door. Number 24, linen cabinets or closets. Oh man, these can get stuffed with blankets, pillows, towels, bed sheets, and tablecloths. How many of each does one house really need? That's a decision that you'll have to make for yourself. Set a number and then start decluttering. Number 25 on the list is the sewing basket or any place where you keep miscellaneous sewing notions such as buttons, zippers, and thread. It's great to have some of these things handy for quick repairs, but if you have too much, the sewing basket can turn into a jumbled mess. Decluttering idea number 26 is a category of digital items. Email inboxes, the computer desktop, or camera cards. They may not take up any space, but I put digital clutter on this list because it can be just as much of a headache as anything physical. In fact, I'd say that digital items can actually pile up a lot faster. Take digital clutter on one bit at a time, perhaps for a set 10 to 15 minutes a day, so that you don't get too overwhelmed. Idea number 27 is kitchen tools. Whether you keep them in a drawer or a container, empty that spot and put things back in as you determine their necessity. And you can thank yourself the next time you go to grab for a spatula or a serving spoon. Number 28, the medicine cabinet. Those expired medications just seem to hang around for a very long time. And partly that's probably because we don't always know how to dispose of them. You shouldn't dump them down the drain or throw them in the trash can. The good news is that most towns or county offices will have some sort of medicine drop box available. So do a little bit of research and clean out that cabinet. Number 29, file folders. Again, you don't need to tackle the entire filing cabinet just yet. Practice your decluttering techniques just one folder at a time. Chances are you will fairly easily come across paper items that you no longer need to keep around. For example, product manuals for equipment that you no longer own. And finally, number 30, declutter your board games. Of all of the storage areas, I think this one is probably the easiest to tackle. Unlike miscellaneous storage spots, which may contain a mix of sentimental items and random belongings, game storage is pretty straightforward. If you don't like a game or haven't played it in ages, chances are you can let it go pretty easily. Once you've pared down the selection, I like to recommend that you store your board games vertically, instead of horizontally stacked one on top of the other. This makes finding what you need extremely easy, and similar to the bookshelf tip, kids are less likely to mess them up too. Well, there you go, 30 easy decluttering ideas, an entire month's worth. Imagine the practice you will get if you tackle each and every one. Before you know it, you'll be moving on to those more frightening spaces like the attic or your home office. Can you feel those decluttering muscles getting stronger? You've got this. As always, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope that you'll stop back again really soon.